Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. In this video, I'm going to share my thoughts on the current state of Indonesian football, including how it has evolved over time, the role of foreign coaches and naturalized players, and some of the challenges we still face. Let's dive in and discuss where Indonesian football is heading and what change could help it go further. Before we start to the video, allow me to introduce myself first. My name is Fatma Angela Rivin and my NPM is 24401050087. Okay, so today I'd like to share my opinion on the development of Indonesian football. In my view, the progress we see today didn't happen overnight. And while there have been improvements, there are still some challenges. Before the arrival of Sinteyong, Indonesian football struggled with a lack of discipline, poor tactical understanding, and inconsistent performance at the international level. While local coaches work hard, the results were often disappointing due to structural issues and lack of support from stakeholders. With the arrival of Sinteyong, I must admit that there has been a noticeable transformation in how the national team plays. I agree to some extent that his method, discipline, and international experience have elevated the team's competitiveness. For example, his focus on physical fitness and tactical awareness has brought Indonesia closer to competing with stronger teams in Asia. However, I don't fully agree that relying solely on a foreign coach will solve all our problems. Long-term success requires a solid foundation at the grassroots level, something we are still lacking. Another factor that has drawn attention is the naturalization of players like Jordi Amat and Sandy Walsh. I see the benefit of adding experienced players to strengthen the squad, especially in areas where we lack quality. However, I partially agree with this approach. While naturalization can bring short-term results, I believe it should not overshadow the need to develop homegrown talent. Relying too much on foreign players might hinder the growth of local players in critical positions. In terms of infrastructure, I must say that Indonesia still has a long way to go. While some stadiums have been renovated, many training facilities remain below international standards. I agree that better infrastructure is crucial for nurturing young players and improving the overall quality of the game. Yet, I also feel that the management and maintenance of this facility are equally important, which is often overlooked. Finally, when discussing the Indonesian league, I have mixed feeling. On one hand, I appreciate the growing professionalism and the rising popularity of League One, which has attracted better foreign players and coaches. On the other hand, issues like inconsistent schedules, financial instability, and poor officiating continue to undermine the league's credibility. I partially agree that the league has improved, but I think there's still much work to be done to make it more competitive and sustainable. In conclusion, I believe that Indonesian football is heading in the right direction. But we cannot ignore the challenges that remain. The progress under Sinteyong, the addition of naturalized players, and improvements in the league are promising, but the focus must be on long-term development through better infrastructure, strong youth programs, and improved management. What's your opinion? Do you think Indonesian football is truly on the right path? Let's discuss. That's all for today's video. I hope you enjoy hearing my talks on Indonesian football. If you agree or have a different opinion, feel free to share in the comments below. I love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.